You guys like my Harry Potter mug? Hi guys, my name is Emmanuel Obi, and this is Just the Basics. In this episode, we're going to go in a little bit more in depth into your employee pension, also known as your second pillar. So let's get started. Okay, so for this video, I'm going to use this. This is actually a practice exam that they give you when you're studying for the FINMA exam. FINMA is just the government body responsible for financial regulations in Switzerland. So, so what I'm going to do is just go over what your second pillar is, how it works. Briefly, I'm not going to go too in depth into it because it could take a very long time, but I'll give you like the basic points that you need to know. First thing you need to know is that at the end of the year from your employer, you will receive a second pillar statement. On the second pillar statement, it will detail everything that I'm going to show you or talk about on this form. On this form, you will see what is known as I'll just put it there, but as your actual salary and then your insured salary. Your insured salary is always going to be less than your actual salary. That's not really anything you need to worry about. That goes into how second pillars are structured, how first pillars are structured, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm not going to go into that. Now, on the form, it'll give you a projection of what your second pillar is going to be if contributions are made continually at this rate. And then it gives you also how much that contribution is going to be after interest. A lot of you already know that you can buy back years in your second pillar, which basically is you're supposed to contribute to your second pillar starting from the age of 25. Now, a lot of us have moved here after the age of 25, which means we have gaps in our second pillar, which means that you can buy back those years so that way you can retire with a full second pillar. What some people don't know is that you can also buy forward on that second pillar and buy years forward so that you can take your second pillar out earlier than retirement age, which is 65 for men and 64 for women. The max that you can buy forward on that is 7 years. You also have the option of retiring early, and it gives you a projection here of how much money you will actually receive on a yearly basis if you were to retire early. There is a penalty for retiring early, plus the fact that you won't have contributed for those years that you have not contributed. Now, something that some people don't know or don't really realize is that the second pillar isn't just a pension where it is you're paying into something and then it's going to be there for you later with interest. It also has insurance coverage that is under Swiss law required. The coverage, the things that it covers in the second pillar are disability in case of death. There's also a payout to your beneficiaries and accident. Accident is pretty important just because, it's on my head. It's on my mind most right now just because I have a friend who I checked her insurance statement, her mandatory health insurance that you have to have in Switzerland. And on her mandatory health insurance, she actually had accident coverage. Now, there are reasons why some people would get extra insurance or additional insurance on their mandatory health insurance to cover accidents. However, she did not know that. She thought that she needed accident insurance coverage. She didn't get it with the idea that I need this extra coverage. She just got it because the guy there told her, and she did not realize that she was covered for accidents on her second pillar. The second pillar covers accidents whether you're at work or not. So if you're going and you're playing football and you fall and you break your leg, break your arm, then that is covered by your employer. Although when I say football, I meant American football. I wasn't really thinking about soccer because they don't get broken bones. They complain about not getting hit. Anyway, so that is covered in your second pillar. Any accidents that would happen to you are covered in your second pillar. Now, another portion that's covered is in the event of death or in the event of disability. Anyway, all of this is in German. On this form, it's all in German. If you're working here, I assume that your employer is going to send you your second pillar statement in English. It's not that hard to translate back and forth because the terms that are going to be on your second pillar statement aren't that complicated. Okay, so as you see here, it says Todesfallleistungen. Forgive my terrible German. I speak it. I just don't sound very good when I do. That's basically what your beneficiaries are going to get in the event of your death. Here it says yearly what would happen if you were to pass away is that your wife or husband would get X amount, and then if you have children, they'll get this amount. Same thing with the disability coverage. If you were to become disabled to the point of where you were no longer allowed to work or no longer able to work, then this is how much you would receive. That would be how much you would receive on a yearly basis. And then if you had children as well, that's how much money you would receive on top of your own disability payments. There is a waiting period. All all of these disability insurances have a waiting period. And for this one, it is 2 years. So now that we've briefly gone over the coverage that you would have from the second pillar for death and for disability, a lot of you are wondering, like, for example, if you wanted to get a 3A, whether you get insurance or bank, or if you want to get life insurance, what you should get. If you're already covered, why would you want to get this, that, and the third? Personally, I have insurance outside of my second pillar insurance just because I want to have a little bit of extra coverage for my children. Switzerland's an expensive country, so the more I can leave for them, the better. But however, some people, depending on their own personal situation, may not need it at all. So that's up for you to decide. However, there is something that you need to be aware of. In Switzerland, not all deaths are created equal. So not a fun topic, but I have to go into it anyway. Depending on how you die will determine how much your second pillar pays out. So if you were to die based on an accident, if you were to, well, let's not just give any descriptions, but if you were to die based on accident, then you would get paid out more than if you were to die based on sickness. If you die based on sickness, it's basically going to be about 10% of what your family would receive if you were to die from an accident. So if you die, I'm just going to use random numbers. That's not really illustrated here. So I'm going to use just random numbers for you. If your coverage for death is $60,000 if you were to die by accident, then if you were to die by sickness, by cancer or heart disease or something like that, then your family would get $6,000. So that's basically the second pillar. It's, like I said, it is very, very just the tip of the iceberg kind of information, but just so you know what it is and what you're looking at when you actually receive it from your employer. Having someone look at it for you to figure out what kind of coverage gaps you may have would be very, very beneficial. But this is giving you just some basic information so that you know that there are insurance coverages in here. There are benefits that are left to your family in case of death or in case of disability. So there are things in this. It's not just a pension where they're putting money in, and then if something were to happen, then it's just the money and that's it. There are other benefits that come along with the second pillar. Just like if you were to contribute into the second pillar or like into a third pillar, it's tax deductible if you make extra contributions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Or when you buy back into it, then that'll be tax deductible as well. So that is just the basics of the second pillar. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, then please leave me those questions in the comment section or send me an email. Also, so you know, I'm doing an online info session now, a webinar. So if you would like, you can also register for that in the description below. Don't forget to click subscribe and also to check out the Facebook page. Like that, it'll have a lot of information there for you as well. So hope you found it helpful, and thanks for watching.